Floyd Patterson, Floyd Patterson.
Great. Now, even if somebody writes it down wrong,
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to start the interview, and you're just going to focus on me. I'll have you say your name again, and just say, we'll start out with, my name is Floyd Patterson, and I worked at BorgWarner for so many years. Okay, you ready?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
My name is Floyd Patterson. I worked at Warner Gear I was there for 30 years, put it that way.
Okay. Tell me, Floyd, what year did you start, and what was your first job out there?
I originally went in April of 1979, and I was on inspecting big industrial cases. That was my first job. And I got moved around, and I forget what I did run then. I run what they call boards then. Big old machines. It was, it was kind of a new experience going in there because I've always worked construction. Go in there and kind of felt like he's in jail or something, because you wasn't outside. I was always used to being outside, but I adapted to it. It was, after you got to know everybody, it got a lot better.
Tell me a little bit about the hiring. You're getting hired there, and your first day at work. Are you nervous? Stuff like that.
The first day I hired, we had to go through what they call orientation. I think we had a week of it, I believe, to where you had to make sure you could read mics, and that was basically about it. And I think they told us, a little bit about the shop and stuff, and then the first day on the floor out in the shop, I was real nervous. I didn't know, it was a whole new experience. I didn't know what to think, and you see all these big machines, and it just blows your mind. But it just like everything else, you just get used to it and adapt to it, and the guys really treat you real good in there and tried to help you.
Now, you had some other family work there. Your father worked there, and your grandfather was one of the first.
My father worked there, I think, in the early 50s. He got laid off, ended up going to Ontario Corporation, retiring from there. My uncle retired from there. I think he retired from there in 81 or 82. My grandfather worked there, and he was one of the first to get the union going.
That's neat. Did you ever hear any stories growing up from your grandfather and stuff about working out there?
Not really, because he passed away. I wasn't. I can't think how old I was when he passed away. He passed away in the 70s, I think, sometime.
Okay. Tell me about, I guess, growing up, and you're from Muncie. So kind of I grew up here in Muncie, born and raised, and growing up in Muncie, getting a job for BorgWarner meant what?
I was born and raised in Muncie, and getting a job at Warner Gear was big, really. I mean, I worked construction. I had a chance to go in 73, I believe it was, right after I got out of high school, 71 or 73, I had a chance to go. I didn't want to do it because I didn't want to work inside. I wanted to go construction. But then, you get married. That's when you're single, and you get married and you get a house. You got to have a job 12 months, 12 months out of the year instead of about 8 months. So I put my application in, got hired, and I don't know how long I worked. I worked for a couple months and was laid off, and worked for a couple more months during 79. And I had to go, I was laid off till 81. I got called back in July of 81. In between there, I went to Colonial Bakery and worked, because I was playing softball with them guys. Went over there and, I just filled out an application. I came home, that superintendent called and wanted to know why I didn't talk to him. I said, well, I don't know. So let's fill an application out. And he said, come on back, you're going to work. I said, okay. That's how easy it was back in. In 79, at 80, and through there to get a job. your job's plentiful. Nothing like it is right now.
Tell me, what did that? I know BorgWarner and GM were kind of status symbols here. I mean, when guys worked for them, it really meant something, because they were such status symbols in the community. Was there a lot of pride you felt by being able to?
There was quite a bit of pride of being in the UAW, working for BorgWarner, really. Because at one time before I was there, they said they was 5,000 or 6,000 strong. I think when the most we've had there since I've been there was maybe 2,500 or something. It seemed kind of funny because, Chevy or General Motors, what they used to be Chevy, they would be going strong, we'd be slow, and then it seemed like it would go vice versa. They'd slow down a little bit and we'd go strong. And when they went out, it really affected things around here. Whew. Now BorgWarner's going, and I don't see how people's going to make it. There's no jobs.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see how they're going to do it. I really don't.
Tell me a little bit about some of the stuff maybe you were involved in. You talked about you played softball with union guys and some other stuff. Those activities and kind of what that meant to you outside of work.
Oh, I played softball with the guys. I don't know how many years until I broke my ankle and kind of gave that up. But I bowled with them for, ever since '79. Was bowling in the UAW league for I don't know how many years it was. I always go to the UAW tournament in Indianapolis every year. We qualified one year and got to go to Atlantic City to bowl for the Nationals. That was always fun. It was a lot of fun being around the guys, it's just, especially in that bowling league, it was more about guys getting together and having fun than it was, because if you won a league, you wasn't going to win no money anyway. It was out there for just companionship, just having fun, drinking a few beers and raising hell with each other, really. It was fun. I miss that. I quit bowling about 4 years ago, and I really. That's what people ask me. Said, "Do you miss the bowling?" And I said, "I don't miss the bowling part, but I miss being around the guys because I haven't seen some of them for so long."
Did you growing up at all? Did you get to go to any of the Christmas parties out at the Union Hall or anything like that? Picnics.
When I was growing up, I went to Local 287. I didn't go to none of their stuff because my mom and dad worked at Ontario, and it was I forget what union Dad worked in over there, but I'd always go to their Christmas party every year. I played baseball for the Ontario Jets, and that was, gosh, I'm very old. But it's about like it is now for I don't have no children, so these guys that's got the kids, always went to Christmas parties, and their kids probably got together. That's about like it was when Dad and Mom worked in Ontario, because I was always playing ball with the other parents' kids, and we was bowling in junior leagues with the other parents' kids, but there was a union, and it was tight knit too.
Oh, yeah. What kind of union was it?
I don't know what the union was on it. They made a lot of airplane blades, engine blades and stuff used to be Boeing and stuff. And the old place was called Silver Plate before it became Ontario.
That was here in Muncie.
Yes, here in Muncie.
Okay. Interesting. What do you think is, maybe, in your opinion, one of the most important things about unions and belonging to a union? What is it for you, and what do you think it is for other people, maybe?
Being a member of a union it's got its good points, and I think it's got its bad points too. Because regardless of, I've seen a lot of instances. I won't name no names or nothing, but I've seen a lot of instances where the union had to represent somebody even though they was wrong, and I never believed in that. I mean, if I was wrong, if I'd done something, I was in the early '80s. I run a bunch of scrap, instead of trying to hide it or something, I went and told the boss. I said, I messed up. He said, no problem, don't worry about it. A lot of people wouldn't do that. They'd go ahead and run it through and try to blame it on somebody else. And then if they'd get caught, then our union would have to represent them for something like that, or absenteeism, and guys didn't want to work. The union would have to stand up for them, and I didn't think that was right. Because there was too many people out there wanting a job, and you got people in here that didn't want to do nothing. But then our union helped out a lot of people too. When people was laid off, they'd always, help them with their utility bills and stuff. They needed it, and done a lot of good for the community.
Yeah. We've heard a lot of stories about people saying kind of what you just did about sometimes the union represented people that they shouldn't have represented, And we've heard some talk, about people drinking out the job or things that were going on that in maybe another job environment they would have been outside.
Yes.
Do you remember recalling seeing a lot of that, or?
I used to, early years, I'm talking back in the 80s, there was some drinking going on. Matter of fact, there was quite a bit of drinking going on, and the guys got their work done, and didn't get silly about it. Then you get, you go and get 2 or 3 guys that get really overboard on it, and then it is, which, you shouldn't have been drinking around machinery and stuff anyway. It's not good. But there's a lot of it going on, That's just the way it was back then. Here in the last 5 or 6 years, I noticed much of it out there. Or, even before then.
Did you ever hear about the tennis club? We heard a story about the tennis club.
I never heard nothing about the tennis
club.
club.
Guys were bringing in the cartridges for tennis balls, and they're putting beer cans in them.
Oh.
And they always said that the thing about bringing alcohol in was easy because they didn't check what came into the plant; they checked what was going out.
Yeah, that's true. They did. They checked what was going out until the last few months, and then they was checking us going in.
Mm-hmm.
They was even scanning us going in.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So, tell me, what, just working at BorgWarner, what was some of the, outside the union, some of the downsides of working for, in that environment maybe? Because we talked to some people and they said, it wasn't until the last 15 or so years the conditions got really good out there, and they took better care of all this stuff, and people, was there any stuff that you felt was a big downside, being exposed to anything, or?
Oh, and being exposed to, oh yes, a lot of, in the 80s, like I said, maybe the last 10, 15 years, the place started cleaning up, and, but in the 80s you would see, they had a block floors, wooden blocks, and when it would rain, you'd see them float. When you get a heavy downpour, you'd see down the aisle there, you'd see blocks floating, our floor floating around, And I used sawdust to put around there because the machines leaked so much oil, and they was putting off so much steam, and I just smell of stuff when it was gear cutting. There was a lot of stuff they wouldn't let them get arrested now. I mean, had environmentalists like that, because it was quite nasty. And I noticed it when first few years I was there. Your clothes had a certain odor, had that oil smell or something, every time you came home. I don't know if I just got used to it, but I think it got used to it. Plus, it got better over there, They started taking better machines. And plus, I got newer stuff in, the stuff they was using. But there were still some machines in there, probably they was running the day they quit. The last year we run was probably back from World War II.
Wow.
Machines that old was still going.
Was there any, do you think you have any health issues today because of anything, long-term exposure or anything?
No, I don't know. The only health issues I would have because of that place is I got carpal tunnel. I had to quit bowling because we used to run them big heavy brooches, and I went to them and said something to them about it, but they say it wasn't nothing they done. If you run that brooch, and I forget what it weighed, it was heavy. You'd be sore when you got done. You run 2,000 of them a day. I was lifting that thing 2,000 times, and it got to me. I had surgery done and still didn't help none. So, but I wasn't one to go argue with him. Hey, you ain't gonna win against him anyway, you know.
Yeah. Lost my place. What do you think? Some of that, I guess, a lot of people talk about, what BorgWarner provided them with a good middle class life. Guys talked about they were able to send their kids to college because of BorgWarner and the wages they made, and because of the things the union helped get for them. And what does that kind of mean for you? And as we see these kind of jobs and pay go away, what are your thoughts about that? So the answer would kind of be like, working for BorgWarner provided me with a lifestyle that I was able to live where you couldn't have lived maybe working somewhere else.
Yeah. Well, BorgWarner provided me with a lifestyle that I've been able to live very well. As far as I've never wanted for anything, put it that way. I mean, if we wanted something, there's just two of us, no kids. She worked and I worked, and we'd be able to get it. And now I don't know, if we want a new vehicle, we'd get a new vehicle every few years, but there's no way you can do it now. I mean, if you go get a job now, I might make $10 less on the hour. And the hell of it is, our stuff is never, the prices ain't went down on nothing. You'll get a new vehicle, you can't get a new vehicle. If you're working $10 less an hour and try to buy a new vehicle and the prices ain't went down, they're same as it was or higher. I don't see how people can afford to do it. There's no way. I know I'm gonna have to change my lifestyle some, but we'll make it. I'm too fat and ornery for them to eat me, so you got no choice but to make it.
Yeah. What do you think then? BorgWarner, GM, or the Ball Company, how it provided this pretty good middle class lifestyle for this whole area of Muncie, and now that's gone away pretty much. How do you think? So the answer to that would kind of be, with all these factories and these good paying jobs in this area, we saw growth, and prosperity and good lifestyles for families. And what do you think now for the future? I guess there's some talk about Ravini coming in here and stuff.
With all these companies leaving, like BorgWarner and Chevrolet and Ball Brothers, it's really affected people. And I'm saying we're going to see the crime rate up higher because people can't find jobs, and they're going to put food on the table or put drugs in their mouth for going to do something, go to robbing people more. I think it's going to get worse. And about Ravini I guess say Ravini's coming in, but that might only take care of 300 or 400 jobs, and we've lost a hell of a lot more than that. And I doubt if the pay is going to be as good. So I don't know, I don't know. I don't know what people are going to do. I really don't. Just.
Let's kind of switch topics and talk a little bit about some of the history here. And your first strike was in '89 that you were on. And tell me a little bit about the story of that. Must have been a little scary, maybe. Your first strike, what you were thinking of, what happened that day when they told you guys you're going on strike. So 1989.
Yeah, in 1989, we went on strike. I was a steward at the time. And I believe we'd already preset everything to what shift everybody's going to be on, just in case we did go, And we built all the sheds right next door, or mom and dad's. There was, I don't know, must have been 8 or 10 of us, or more than that out there. We built our shanties to strike in. And it was scary thinking about, you might not go back. But it was, I don't know what to say about it. It would scare you. And
were you on shift that day when they told you to stop what you were doing and head out?
Well, we know at midnight, I believe it was, because that was the deadline. And I went back in there at midnight because I was steward, and they cleared everybody out.
We talked to some management that said that they took over machines, during the strikes, and some of them had a new appreciation for what you guys did, and some people thought, oh, we did it just as well as they did, And what do you think about, when the management had to kind of take over and do your guys' jobs?
During the strike, when management was in there running, I thought it was great for them to run some of them jobs and see how tough they was, because they really had no clue. And some of them did come back and tell us that they went back to work. There's a lot of hard feelings, but I wasn't really mad at none of them because that was their job. That's their livelihood. They had to do what they had to do, and I had to do what I had to do. Matter of fact, a good friend of mine was on supervision. I bowled with him all the time, and he said, we were still bowling. He said, you sure you want to bowl with me? And I said, well, yeah. I said, you're still my friend. I said, this has got nothing to do with it. I said, you're taking care of yourself. I got to take care of myself. I said, it has nothing to do with between the two of us. That never did bother me on that, but a lot of people it did. A lot of people it really got them. They was, it took years for them to get over that. The hard feelings on supervision going in there and running their machines. Which, if they didn't do it, they lose their job. So what were they supposed to do? I guess I'm not sounding like a good union man, but I just believe in people's got to do what they got to do. I mean, it's the same as us going on strike. We was told to go on strike. We got to go on strike. They was told to go in there and run it, and they had no choice.
Did you see anything going on that would seem scary? We heard about tires being slashed and different stuff going on that happens sometimes on strikes.
Yeah. I really never seen much going on when I was on my shift, because I think I was from like midnight till 3 a.m. I took a hoot owl shift, and as far as I know, there was nothing going on then. But I heard a lot of stuff that guys had talked about, but I never seen none of it. I heard some guys was packing guns and stuff like that, but I never really got into it. Like I said, they was doing their job. That's,
Did they bring anybody in to cross the picket line? Any scabs?
I don't think so, as I know of. Like I said, I wasn't there during the day when they was working. All I know is that I heard the supervisors went in.
Okay. Now that strike tell me what that strike was over. What was it about?
I was thinking they was wanting us to take concessions, and I'm not even for sure. I really don't know. I mean, I was a steward, but, I wasn't into it. And that's 20 years ago. I have a hard time remembering stuff 5 years ago.
We heard it was mainly over benefits.
It probably was. It was benefits and wages and stuff.
Tell me, real quick, explain to me, if I don't know, what a steward is.
A steward, they got what they call a zone. A steward is, we have like committeemen. We've only got like 6 or 7 of them to take care of the whole plant. And under your committeemen is your stewards. If they have a problem and they can't handle it, they go to the committeeman. And it's about like, say like a supervisor and a foreman. Foreman goes to his supervisor, which these guys the committeeman was supposed to have been our supervisor. If we couldn't handle our problem, we'd have to go to them, have them handle it. Biggest part of the time your stewards was, they had a zone, usually had departments, maybe had 30 people, 40 people under them, or to represent in case somebody had problems.
So is it just handling grievances or making sure that they're running things right?
Yeah, it was just grievances, and then if somebody had a problem about, they done, the supervisor's done this, or the company done this or that to them, or absenteeism, or, anything that they had a problem with the company about, the steward was supposed to take care of it, and if he couldn't take care of it, then he goes to the committee.
How do you feel about some of the union presidents and the bargaining committee guys that were in charge either during that strike or even up to the '06 vote? The hierarchy of the union that represents you guys. Did you feel that you guys were represented with the best intentions from these people, or did they make wrong decisions? We've heard people say they didn't see things coming and they shouldn't have done this or that.
You talking about in our local union? You talking about the international?
Local.
We took that vote, and talking about the vote in 2006 and stuff. We took that vote in 2006. I kind of thought they was bluffing us, I couldn't find out they wasn't. But they don't turn around and we take a vote and 2 months later they say they're closing the plant. I mean, if we'd have took a vote and took concessions, they're still going to close the plant. That's the way I see it. Because you don't come 2 months for a place that big and they say they're going to close it, no matter, they tell you in 2 months. Then they've had this in their plans for a long time. It just don't come up all of a sudden. Because they had to be working on where stuff was going to be. And so I think regardless of our vote in 2006 on taking concessions or opening the contract back up, they was going to close it anyway. No matter, I believe that if we would have voted to open the contract and we took concessions, that was taking money out of our pocket and giving them more money to shut the doors.
Yeah.
And as far as our being represented by them guys, they've, some of them seen. We had one of them that didn't know, and the rest of them was voting against the. They felt about like I did.
One of the things people said that kind of was an early sign was when they sold off that marine line and that manual transmission. They thought that was because it was such a big line and easy moneymaker for Borg, and they kind of saw that as one of the early signs.
Early signs, yeah.
What do you think about that?
When they got rid of the marine line and the manual transmissions, that wasn't too long after the strike, I don't think.
It was in '91.
Yeah. I didn't like it because it's putting all their eggs in one basket, all on transfer cases, and not going to transmissions too. They could have very easily stayed with both. I don't understand. I don't know. I don't know if that was a sign of it or not because, we still don't look like gangbusters when it left. We still was going good with transfer cases.
Trucks and SUV sales were
Yeah.
really high in the
Yes,
90s.
yes.
That's what kept you guys employed
Yeah.
was building transmissions for.
Yeah, we built transmissions 5 speeds and 4 speeds, and they started to line up for that Corvette 6-speed. And it didn't last very long when they got rid of it.
What did a lot of those transfer cases go into?
Our transfer case now was going into a lot of General Motors and Ford, your F-150s and General Motors Suburban and vans and stuff like that. Is what last we run was. We run some for the Hummer too, but with the gas prices going and everything, it didn't. The H3, built them for the H3.
Kind of getting around towards the closing. How did you, when they first announced the closing? When was that? Was that last
That was
year?
about a year and a half. I think it was about 18 months before he did actually close the doors. When they announced it.
How was it? How did that make you feel when they announced that? And what was it?
I don't know, there's always thought in the back of my mind that they was going to keep it open, until probably the last 6 months when they started moving stuff out, and then I realized, well, it's soaked in where it is going to happen.
Yeah.
And it just, it just got so sad there last week. I think I only worked a couple of days out. I didn't even want to go in there. It was hard. It just made you sick. Been there all your life and or practically all your life, biggest part of your life, and then close the doors because of greed, I think. Because I know darn well that that plant here in Muncie kept some of the other plants at BorgWarner going during their rough times, and their startups. And now they're going to turn around and just empty us out. But the economy's got a lot to do with it. I mean, everything falling off too, so.
We heard too that the vote with the benefits created quite a divide in the union, and how things were going to get sold out to sell the benefit package, and people that were retired versus people who wouldn't get retired. And it created a little bit of a divide in the union there. Do you have any thoughts or feelings about the benefits and the sale of that?
You talking about our severance package or whatever it's supposed to be on
Yeah.
it? Yeah. When they started negotiating what we was going to get on the closing, there's a lot of hard feelings. There probably still is now. A lot of hard feelings from people because the people had their 30 years. They took their insurance, and that was that's in our contract. You get 30 years, you got your insurance and pension. And that didn't happen. And then there's, like me, there's 31 of us that went in 79, and we never got our 30 years. We ended up getting 81 seniority. And I know a person, or a couple people that missed it by 1 or 2 days of getting their 6 months, and 79 they wouldn't give it to them. That's not right. They keep saying BorgWarner's making money. Their stock is higher than it was when we closed the place. So, it's just not right for a big corporation to do that when somebody spent the biggest part of their life in there and then over a few days going to jam them. But we should have had that. We should have had that corrected long before. We should have had it corrected 2 or 3 contracts ago. Because these guys that went in 73, they lost their time. But over the years, they negotiated and got it back for them. And and they negotiate and get ours back. I think there's 30 some of us went in, and 31 of us went in 79. Never got our seniority. And there's another 15 or 20 that went in 81. And they wouldn't roll them up for 2 years or whatever, a year and a half.
Yes, I heard that the previous contract didn't get it written in about the 30 years, and it was like they went back to work, and the contract was kind of done too quickly, and didn't write that in for you guys for the benefits and stuff.
Yeah, I really never even seen the contract, our last contract, but I don't think we had made a copy of it. It was a cluster.
When was that last contract?
Whew, what had it been? 2004, 2005, somewhere in there.
That's where they could have written it in.
We could have tried to negotiate it in like they did, But we shouldn't have had, it should have been done long before then. Especially when it was going good, we should have tried to get that in there then. And it'd been 40 of us, been a lot happier.
Yeah.
Instead of getting nothing, we would at least got our pension.
That's something for you personally. You said when they announced the closing last year, you went ahead and got yourself on your wife's insurance, and she works for County Delaware. So that just kind of, I guess the answer to that really is more of an explanation. When I heard we were closing, I went ahead and switched over to my wife's insurance. Tell me where she works at, what she does.
When I heard we were closing, I went. There was only a certain time of the year I could get on my wife's insurance, I believe she said, and so I got on it August of last year. I started on my wife's insurance because I wasn't for sure what we was going to end up with, And she works for the county building, the auditor's office. She got good insurance. It's, and I feel sorry for these other guys that are not going to be able to get it. Some of these people's got ailments or their spouses do that. There's no way they can afford insurance, and they wouldn't give them to them anyway, because of health problems. That's not right. That's. If I really told you what I thought, you'd have to do some bleeping on it.
That's okay. we won't intrude with that.
I think it's just a bunch of bullshit, It's especially these people who got 30 years. And if they take their insurance, they took their insurance. There's some guys in there can't get insurance because their spouses was still in there. Because they're sick or they got health problems or they're maybe got health problems themselves. There ain't no insurance company gonna want that.
Yeah.
If they do, they can't afford it.
Is your wife's insurance as good as BorgWarner's?
Yeah, I believe it's pretty good. Yeah.
Let's see. Tell me a little bit about 287 is gone. National came down and closed it, and some people were surprised. They came down within 2 days of the plant closing, so speak your mind. Nobody's judging anything here. And how do you feel about the handling of 287?
Well, they sold it. They sold the building. It went to some church bought it, didn't they? Yeah. Well, the International. As far as handling stuff, the International period, I thought they gave us a good screwing because they thought they got us the best they could get us, and I think that's a bunch of shit. They wasn't worried about us at the time. They was worried about General Motors and Ford and them because it was going on about their bankruptcy and all this stuff. They wasn't worried about us. That's what I think. And as far as them, I heard, I don't know for sure, but I think we had like 90,000 in our account. They get it. Why? They didn't put nothing into it. That's our money. That's our union dues and stuff we put into that. And they get the money. Why? Why not split it between the people that put it in there or invested in Senior Citizen Center or something for UAW, instead of International get it. I think they gave us the green weenie. I think so. I think there's a lot of people thinks that way.
That's what I've heard about the sale of the property. Even you guys bought that property.
Yeah. The International didn't. International didn't buy that property. We did. But yet I don't understand how come the International gets it. It blows my mind. I don't know. Of course, I'm not into politics or nothing like that, and I don't give a damn what they do with it, I guess. It would make no difference. But I don't think it's right. There's too many people that, like I said, take the money they got from it and build a nice senior citizens place for our retirees, for people to gather or whatever. Instead of International take it. Probably take it and use it for General Motors or somebody. Who knows? Who knows what the hell they do with it. That's a drop in the bucket to General Motors and stuff, but for a lot of people around here that lost their job, it could be well used for something.
Have you been over to the Forest Park School where the retirees are meeting now?
I've never been over to the retirees, no.
How do you feel that there's because we've heard some of the retirees and other people talk, that the selling of Spring Lake and the closing of it down really just took away the identity and the place where you guys could even gather and stuff, and not having anything now. How does that feel?
I never was big about going to Springwater. I really didn't go that many union meetings until they're at the end. And a lot of guys did. A lot of guys went all the time, went to all their parties, and I never would, but they would go together and stuff, and it's going to affect a lot of people because, they like that. They get to see their friends all the time, and party with them or whatever instead at work. They're going to play, I don't know. I don't know what to really say,
Yeah.
I really don't.
How was it going to those last meetings? We heard, there was security out there and it got pretty heated and stuff. How did you feel about seeing, what was it like?
Our last union meeting was, well, I know there's people that, people think the committee screwed us and the committee wanted to do this or that. And that they said some of them promised money to guys and they wasn't going to get as much as they thought. And a lot of your younger guys in '83 was mad at retirees because they got so much and they didn't get what they wanted. And it was, I don't want to say it. It was, I think we could have done better. I think International could have done better and our committee could have. But they, and I didn't see it firsthand, but they said there's a committeeman was a lot of people thought he was in cahoots with the company itself. But I have no clue. That's just rumors I heard, And the arguing going on out there was just the same thing. It's money. Somebody, your 83 people thought they ought to got as much as this person, or vice versa, and somebody was blaming somebody else because it cost us $9 million, and because from our first offer the company gave us, it was $9 million less, and we had committeemen arguing about they cost us this, and which I don't know, and I think the company was just sitting back laughing. They enjoyed that when we was arguing. I think they wanted our committee to be arguing amongst themselves, instead of being united.
It's a strategy.
Yeah, for strategy and stuff. You're right.
So I've heard it best described as from somebody was, it's like a grandparent or somebody passes away and all the kids are fighting over the inheritance.
Yeah, that's about, it's about like, when if you got a big family and your parents die or whatever, everybody's fighting over what they want, That's about the way it was.
Tell me, obviously your routine has changed, not waking up and going into work all the time now. We'll talk a little bit about what you're doing now, and tell me how you feel. You're not there anymore, and how you're filling your days. You can talk about your horses a little bit.
Anymore. I just, if I feel like getting up, I get up. If I want to sleep in, I'll sleep in. It's kind of, it's making me lazier than hell is what it's doing. I go over and work my horses, and I put them on a walker and let them walk for about 3 miles every so many days. And then I'll go to, a buddy of mine's got a track, a little 3/10 track at Ridgeville. I take him over there, and his daughter rides him for me and try to get him in shape. And, besides that, spend most of my time over in the barn. I love being around horses, and over my uncles, I'll spend over there the biggest part of my time. Come home in the evening if it's nice. My little cousin next door, she wants to go swimming with me, and her go swimming. That's just about the extent of my day, really,
How many horses do you train?
2. I have trained two thoroughbreds.
What do you train them for? What kind of training is it?
Running. The thoroughbred racing.
Okay.
I took one down Monday to race him, and they canceled the races. Took him to Shelbyville.
What are your plans or hopes for yourself for work?
I got as far as work goes, I've got a resume. It's supposed to have been turned at Bravini. I don't know, how that's going to pan out. I'm thinking about going to school and getting my CDLs, because I'm saying eventually, even to pull my horse trailer, I might have CDLs in a few future years. Plus, I could pick up a job driving dump trucks or something like that. I really don't want to go over the road. I don't want to hit the road on a semi. I'm not into that. I don't know what else a guy could do. There's even that's going to be hard to do, get a job, because everybody's going to be wanting a job.
What do you think about? We touched on a little bit about Bravini, and there's also another plant. I think it's come down in Anderson that builds wind turbines and solar panels and stuff.
And Bravini's and there's supposed to be another one come on wheeling about something, wasn't it? When the blades or something for them.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Bravini coming in, I think will really, really help us. But I don't know how many jobs they're going to have. Even if they have 300 or 400 people, that's 300 or 400 people that got them a job and didn't have a job. And I'd like to see more come in. I have no idea what they pay, but I heard some rumors, or I thought I read in the paper something, around $36,000 or $40,000 a year, which is good. That's, that beats not working, really. It beats unemployment.
We've one thing that's kind of changed for Muncie is going from a factory industry-based town to Ball State's now the largest employer here in the county. What do you think about that?
That's really weird, Ball State being the largest employer in the county when the factories used to be over it, because we had Delco, we had Chevy, and we had BorgWarner. My gosh, that was, wow. I don't know how many people them three would combined it, and Westinghouse in the 80s. I don't know how many people that would combine job wise with the four of them.
Indiana Steel Wire.
Yeah, I bet we're counting just between Westinghouse and Delco and Chevy and BorgWarner. We're probably 15,000 people or better. I don't know. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
close to it, 10,000 that no longer has a job.
There's a big wage difference too with those jobs.
Yeah, those your better jobs for around here, In Ontario at one time, Mom and Dad worked there. They made good money. The hammer guys made real good money at one time.
What did they make in Ontario?
Ontario used to make jet blades for Boeing.
Do you have anything you wanted to add to the interview? So I can kind of give you a chance to, if there's anything we didn't cover, or any opinion you want to share with us about anything.
No, not really.
So, okay. Well, we're gonna just kind of, we'll do a little bit of what we call shooting around your house and the outside, and I'll just walk with you a little bit. We'll talk, and let me get that mic from you. So go ahead and tell me about your house again. You built it and
I
when?
built the house in '75. I had this, this room built on about 5 years ago. Mom and Dad owned all the lots on this side of the road, and my uncle owned on the other side, and it just cornfields. And they saved me a lot for when I got married, which made it nice. And I mean, I had the lot, so it wasn't too hard to get a loan and get a house.
So you grew up in this neighborhood?
Yes, I grew up in this neighborhood.
Do you have any friends that still live?
60. Actually, I think Mom and Dad built their house over there in 62. Is when we moved out here.
Is their house still down here?
Right next door. They passed away, and my cousin bought it.
Okay.
So there's still family around, which makes it good.
You got some neighbors that you grew up with around here?
Not really. I think about all has moved out and on now.
Okay. Let's walk around the back side of the house a little bit. Tell me what life is like, I guess, growing up here in Muncie. Is this a pretty family-friendly town?
Oh yeah. We've hardly had any trouble out in this area whatsoever, really. I think I don't know how old I was. They broke in and stole our Christmas right up here. Wasn't at this house, but it was on up that Hoyt Avenue. I was only about 7 or 8 years old. I can remember that. Before they took our house. Look into it. My neighborhood pig. Bacon.
Neighborhood pig.
Yeah. Potbelly pig.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Bacon.
I've seen that.
Bacon. 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 Yeah, let's go get it up. Bacon. 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 What are you doing? Bacon. Bacon.
You feed them?
Huh? Oh yeah. When they got her outside, she'll come to the fence and we'll feed her. Okay. You're gonna get in. Bacon.
How old is it?
Probably a year and a half, maybe 2 years old. That's my cousin.
Huh.
That's something else.
Your cousin lives in your
Yeah,
parents' house now?
yeah.
Okay.
I got a little pool for her somewhere. Yeah, I got a pool over there. She gets hot. When they turn her loose, she can get in the pool. It's common. You had to see Bacon.
Come out?
Yeah, she's out. She got up. Had a heck of a time getting up.
Do you think a lot of people these days are, working these, we talked to, I don't know if you know Bruce Reynolds.
Yeah.
His son
Retired.
worked out there for 3 years.
Yeah.
And he got laid off early, and now the poor guy's working 2 jobs that don't add up to one BorgWarner. He's working at Walmart and stuff. Well, he's not going to be able to provide this kind of middle class lifestyle.
I know.
What do you think about the loss of all that is it's going down to our kids and grandkids that aren't going to have this lifestyle that you were able to live.
I don't know what to think about. I don't know what's gonna, I don't know how they're gonna make it. I really don't.
Yeah.
I mean, if this don't change, economy don't change around, I don't, I mean, I'm, my position, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna be all right. I might be able not to live like I did before, but I'm gonna make it,
Mm-hmm.
These younger kids trying to come up and, a newlywed couple and got a job, both of them working maybe Walmart or something. How are they gonna make it and buy a house? I don't see how they do it. I don't see how they can do it.
Did you ever feel any jealousy from any people in the community against guys who were in the union or working these?
Yeah, there's a lot of people didn't like it. Thought we, didn't like the union. Said the union was wrong and didn't really care because thought we was making all kinds of buku money, and which we made good money, but
Thought you didn't deserve it.
yeah, a lot of them thought we didn't deserve it because no more than what we did, and they had to work harder.
You got a nice pool over here.
Yeah,
See.
thank you. Yep. Comes in handy when it gets hot out.
Yeah. Spend a lot of time out back here now in the summer.
No, I mean, that's why I thought it was easy, but when we first started up, we got stuck. I said, I've done that close to years, and I missed what happened here. I mean, the wedding here was more automated than what we got here. But we have to go back on to get it up. Some of people came in there, but, some people came in later, didn't do it.
The kitten.
Yeah, he's rocking.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh man, it wasn't the case back then.
That's what a lot of guys that worked at BorgWarner didn't, and retired and didn't come back for 10 years when they was doing everything. They couldn't believe the changes, how clean it was. There's no way you used to be able to walk in there without getting oil and stuff all over your feet, all over your shoes, And they worked on it, got it where it was a lot cleaner. It was,
Yeah. Well, great. I think that's about it. We appreciate your time.
Yeah,
I
no problem.
appreciate you